Holding on to hope can provide strength and resilience if tomorrow is truly assured. Is our tomorrow assured? Ours is a hopeless renewal. Just 2 years into a 4-year term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, him and his team are already fixated on a second term, despite their inability to ensure the security and welfare of the average Nigerians as provided by the Constitution. Anyway, you can say the opposition party also are discussing 2027 and attempting to form a coalition front against the president's ambition in 2027. Anyway, typically, one can say why it is the responsibility of the ruling party to govern well, to remain in power. It is also the duty of the opposition party to find a common front to defeat a ruling party. They are all playing politics. After all, when President Tinubu did opposition, he himself seek coalition against the then ruling government of People's Democratic Party, PDP. However, the question is this ruling party governing well? And are the opposition actually ready for a coalition? Even though some of us know the answer, but just follow me small. Make we attempt the answer together. You will agree with me that the current opposition is not as fierce as Tinubu and his team, where they were in opposition and formed the All Progressive Congress, then nicknamed Angry Politicians Congress. For the current opposition to be taken seriously, they must show purposefulness and selflessness. Not this one where we see our serial contestants till they position himself to run against Tinubu in 2027. Or in some cases where some person for Port Harcourt who don't take government since 1999, from speaker to governor to minister, and the first 2 years when they host the outside of government, they're already feeling hot. The opposition must be ready to sit back and support credible candidates. Otherwise, I don't call anybody name, Sha. I just give free advice when they no sick. Now to the next question. Imagine the arrogance of the ruling party. He's just midterm into the tenure of this government, and whilst the people they swore to protect are crying of hunger and waiting for the promised hope that they promised in their campaign. The 2027 election is already in their mind as if it is 6 months away. They are busy endorsing the president for a second term, not on the basis of performance, but because of coercion and state capture. As people now even jokingly say that the electoral umpire, INEC, is now an arm of the ruling party. Oh, my show. Anyway, so assessing the midterm performance of the administration, I will say why the President Tinubu's twin policy of subsidy removal from fuel and unification of the forest, an increase in the price of electricity and other essential infrastructural services is putting more money in the hands of the state and federal government, even though, they are still consistently borrowing. This policy, I can say, has ensured relative stability in the financial market. And then also, you have power more than the electric power supply in some areas. And then consistently, though expensive, PMS at the gas station, courtesy Dangote and others, because NNPC they work. But however, the hunger and the general insecurity in the land is rising in quadruple as these ordinary citizens can no longer afford the basic necessities of life. So why the president has consistently informed Nigeria that he feels our pain, I can assure you that the reforms are necessary for a better future. On the contrary, the people around the presidents, including members of our National Assembly and the governors, are living as though we're in economic boom, as their convoy and retinue of cars and aids, including that of the president, is now longer than necessary. You just imagine, in 24 months, President Tinubu has borrowed about 17.8 billion from the World Bank. And the ordinary man is not feeling it. I don't have a problem with borrowing, though. It must be put to purposeful use. Because the president has deprived the public of subsidy as sustainable. Nobody's arguing with that. But yet, the government has continued to subsidize the lifestyle of political class as their ostentatious lifestyle continue to put a lie to the narrative that there's hunger and pain in the land, in the mind of outsiders. Now, EFCC, they are more fixated on arresting Yahoo boys and those that abuse the naira than dealing with official corruption. Insecurity, kidnapping, and killing in the country has become an acceptable phenomenon as we now wake up daily to pay condolences to friends and family in various states. Plateau is still in our mind. While the government is celebrating their midterm scorecard with the creation of regional development agencies or commission, are they talking about sustainable funding for these agencies? There's no clear-cut policy direction from both the federal and the state government on their next 2 years' agenda and realizable economic plan and program with actualization date and timeline on poverty alleviation, education, small and low-income housing, wealth creation, industrialization, gender equality, fiscal federalism, state policing, banditry, terrorism, open grazing, and even the value of the life of the ordinary Nigerian. What does it mean to them, apart from all of this blind endorsement here and there? Nobody is thinking of changing our education curriculum from job seekers to job creators as we continue to sell our raw materials and then import finished goods. What can one really point to in the last 2 years of this administration that has truly truly inspire hope in the ordinary Nigeria, apart from the hope to APC and their acolytes and even some other politicians at the state level? Anyway, their supporters will always tell them that, Your Excellency are the best thing to happen to Nigeria after independence. Anyway, it is not new because people before you were told the same thing. And people that will come after you will be told the same thing. So for us, Nigerians, in the midst of all of this crisis, we must continue to lift up the Nigerian spirit and ensure that the discussion, the conversation, both in government and in opposition, is centered around creating purposeful governance that will truly guarantee urban and rural housing development, creation of a knowledge-based economy, ensure a safe environment and country, enable industrialization and increase productivity capacity, build sustainable infrastructure, and ensure food sufficiency and security, because these are the things that will actually enhance our local currency and grow economy in the long run. Otherwise, without these things, if the opposition and people in government let them campaign from now till 2033 or 2050, the situation will keep nosediving from bad to worse. And this set of the politicians might be remembered someday as the ones that visited enormous pain on the people, despite having enough money in their pockets. So I will therefore advocate, irrespective of the coalition of the opposition, President Tinubu should avoid the temptation of jumping on the bandwagon of 2027 campaign in 2025 when he's yet to deliver on the promises of 2023. His primary objective now should be how to fund a research that will give him a clear vision on how to turn the developmental tide of this country in the next 2 years, using the low-hanging fruits indices like fighting insecurity headlong, making farms safer, creating task force on communal farming to drive mechanized farming at every local government area in the country, monitor and adequately fund and change the curriculum of technical education in the country to develop collaboration that will genuinely create industries that will turn our raw materials into finished product here in Nigeria rather than exporting them. And there are other opportunities too. That way, he would not be afraid of the gathering of the opposition, as the masses who would have benefited from his program would be the ones to do the campaign while he goes to sleep on election day, and they will just wake him to come and say, come and continue. These things are not rocket science. But anyway, I guess where you're in government, you don't see clearly until you're outside of government. That is why when you're outside of government, you criticize. Once you get there, you are blind. Anyway, make I stop here so that we can also listen to your comment on all our social media platforms shown on your screen. And please feel free to share so that themselves will hear our voice. They say once you choose hope, anything is possible. But here in Nigeria, they shove hope down our throat and everything became impossible. See you next time.